Support the channel on patreon.com/manlightfoot. We've run into something unique when it comes to modern Disney animated shows, haven't we? We've gotten shows from them that had good protagonists in their history before, and usually there's something a bit more interesting about them as leads, be they a teen that can save the world with their fists and some gadgets, or teens just living a regular life with wacky situations happening, or mystery-solving tweens, or globe-trotting ducks. Or a pickle and peanut. I mean, that's definitely different. But the recent fare from Disney managed to do something that makes their protagonists stand out above the others, those protagonists being Anne and Luz from Owl House and Amphibia. They may have differences between their way of thinking, but they do have something in common when it comes to how their stories play out. They both have this sense of not being special, but somehow being special. Bear with me, people. These two bring a unique flair that I think many shows neglected for a while that really adds a freshness that was sorely needed from animated media. So let's take a look at how these two girls are special without being special. I swear I'm gonna make this make sense. This video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. Psst. Hey you. You want to know a little secret about a hidden gem that costs you nothing but makes your life a million times better?
Come on, sit over here and let me tell you a little bedtime story.
Raid's got a ton of champions, over 600 now. All those champions come from unique factions, each with their own history in the world of Teleria. I wanted to talk for a minute about the High Elves. They're not like what I expected. I guess they are because they're mega arrogant. They say they helped the humans form civilization, but both races came into existence at the same time. They say they helped the world pick up after the Lizardmen Empire fell, but actually they just kind of watched it happen, and at the end they rub in how inclusive they are, as long as whoever joins them is willing to toe the party line, which makes a certain amount of sense, come to think of it, because they had their schism with the Dark Elves that drowned the country in civil war, and that was mostly on differences of opinion. And it's worth mentioning that the Sacred Order are zealots, the Dark Elves are psychopathic murder monkeys, the Knights Revenants are the world's most evil pyramid scheme. Okay, fair is fair, the High Elves are maybe the best of a bad bunch, but they're super snooty about it. So, what's new in Raid? This month, Raid's got a non-stop schedule of special events and activities, including Forge Pass Season 3, with some amazing rewards on offer, including a limited edition artifact set. If that's not enough, Raid's bringing out some new champions along with some awesome looking champion skins for the incredible Madame Saris. But wait, here's the big news. Raid has just released a superpowered legendary version of everybody's favorite champion, Death Knight. The whole Raid community has been waiting for this for a long time, and Ultimate Death Knight is everything we hope for. He's poised, he's powerful, he's perfect. And the best part is, everyone can get him for free just by logging in. All you have to do is log in and play Raid for 7 days between now and October 7th, and you'll add Ultimate Death Knight to your collection easy. There's seriously never been a better time to get started, but there's more. You can also use the DK Rises promo code for a bunch of free items to instantly level your new strongest champion all the way to level 50, 5-star Ascension. This is the best time to get started in Raid, and if you click my link in the description or scan my QR code here on the screen, you'll get a unique bonus worth $30. We're talking a free epic champion Aina 200k silver, 1 energy refill and 1 XP boost, and 1 ancient shard, so you can summon awesome champions as soon as you get in game. Y'all say it's bougie, I'm like, it's fine, but I'm trying to give you $1 million worth of game for free 99. All this treasure will be waiting for you here. The rewards will be available only for the next 30 days and only for new players. So get out there and get to raiding with Raid Shadow Legends. Now, there are certainly some similarities between them that actually makes them major characters of endearment. You know, besides both almost dying.
like you're really gonna tase a kid.
You can also tack on luck being something they have in common too. The big thing with these two is how they're presented in their respective stories. Now of course they're not one and the same in terms of their introduction, but how they are in their regular life, and share a few qualities. Let's start with Anne since we're introduced to her first. She's presented as a typical irresponsible teenager who gets transported to a new world made of frogs. She clearly had some life lessons she needed to learn considering who her friend group and what her sense of morality were.
If a friend likes a pencil case, you get it for them. If your friend likes your new shoes, you give them to her. And if her friend wants you to steal a crazy music box from a thrift store, even if you really don't want to, you do it, okay? Because if you don't, they might not want to be your friend anymore.
Yeah, she was not in the best position for having a promising future since she was persuaded into stealing. A thing we learned throughout the series is that Anne was looked down upon for not really showing any signs of promise. Her mother would reprimand her for being a screw-up and not fully applying herself, as well as her principal giving her a good talking to about letting herself be led down a bad path by her friends.
We were wrong about you. You're still the same irresponsible little girl who used to cut class. When are you going to grow up? When are you going to stop getting in trouble?
Anne, you get to choose the type of person you're going to be. Don't forget that.
She's made clear that she is sort of a blank slate that needed to make a name for herself. She's not presented with a great particular set of skills, just your average teenager. Now let's look at Luz. Of course we got introduced to her being a sort of troublemaker like Anne, but with different circumstances considering she let loose a bunch of snakes in the school.
Oh, that's where the backup snakes were.
Let it be known that her mother wasn't wrong to think of sending her to summer camp because of that incident. Like, come on now. But anyway, Luz is seen to be a normal, if not a little odd teenager with very niche interests. She also doesn't really express any unique skills. That's something both girls have in common. They both start off with nothing extraordinary about them, with only some unique interests to them, such as Anne liking reality shows or Luz liking fantasy books and anime. But the commonality doesn't stop there. They both go through sort of similar stories of having to find themselves and meeting wacky characters along the way. This isn't one-to-one with them since you have Anne starting off with a peer group but just needing good friends to show her what having friends should be like, and Luz starting off with absolutely no one. Anne's friends, the planners, allowed her to see that she needed to stick up for herself and not let herself be dragged around by others. We see this message in season 1 with how Anne was following a group of toads and bullying people for taxes, but she stood up for herself and the townspeople because it was the right thing to do. It plays into the sense of morality that Anne clearly has, but had to keep suppressed because of Sasha. Throughout the first season, we see Anne having doubts about what she's been led to believe when it comes to friendship and what the right thing to do is, be it her connecting with Polly and wrongfully trying to change her, or learning that you don't have to do everything your friend group does, especially when it involves camping in a deadly forest.
Damn, Nature, you scary!
Everything does come to a head for Anne when she finally confronts Sasha for pushing her around all the time in the season 1 finale. Throughout the rest of the series, Anne is pretty much set in knowing that she's a better person than when she started. With Luz, she actually was more on the opposite end of the spectrum. She didn't have her sense of morality suppressed since she had no one to do that to her. She knew right from wrong, she just had no sense of boundaries considering her meddling in other people's affairs or doing stuff that ends up hurting others because she just wasn't thinking about if and how it would affect them. Case in point, Ida. Luz went out of her way to try to get a cure for Ida's curse in season 1, only for her to get captured, which caused Ida to come save her, only for Ida to get captured and almost turned to stone. This ended up being a big lesson for Luz going forward now because she started to do things that were more to only be a danger to her rather than those around her. With her sacrificing herself for the sake of her friends, getting expelled by letting herself be used as a guinea pig of the Blight Weapons Expo, or letting herself get kidnapped in the last 2 episodes of season 2 to face off against Bellows alone. She's learned to not let others have to come bail her out and to not go past what others would deem acceptable. We saw that play out when she was planning to confess to Amity. She actually held herself back from doing anything over the top. Of course, a pesky door demon had to mess up that idea like always.
Wait, what?
But it's still important to remember that Luz learned to hold herself back from her usual over-the-top self. That's that sense of growth that was important for both Anne and Luz. They're average teens, but they go through extraordinary lengths to have to learn their life lessons. It speaks to how they learn in a special way versus a more normal method of going through the horrors of the educational system. But real truth aside, they even go far with how they don't really know what they want out of life just yet. Now, with Anne, she does figure it out when she becomes older, and Luz hasn't figured that out at all yet, especially since the show is not done. It still is a great example though of how relatable they are with how they learn from their environments and how it shapes them. But they also have something in common when it comes to those around them, that being the friends they made and how they brought major changes into their lives. It speaks to how special they basically are. Okay, listen people, I'm not contradicting myself here. In fact, this should explain it for you. There, wasn't that helpful? Okay, I'll get to the real point. Cue the transition. Brought something to the lives of the people they've met in those new worlds. Oh wait, you actually don't know? Dang. Watch more TV. For those that don't know, Anne and Luce connected really well with a lot of the different characters in the worlds they travel to, even getting to a point that they're basically considered family. This plays into just how important these characters are to their respective series. Sometimes you might get people to think a character is not important for whatever reason, but with Anne and Luce, they are very essential to the lives of those they meet. Anne was someone who popped into Amphibia and changed the lives of a whole town, and to a degree the whole landscape of the world. There's arguably a lot that could have gone wrong with everyone, especially the planters, if Anne never showed up. For instance, Hop Hop probably wouldn't have gotten with Sylvia if Anne didn't teach him how to dance.
Damn!
Correction? Teach him to commit an atrocity against nature. Sprig wouldn't have realized his feelings for Ivy if Anne didn't push him on that front. Though, they ended up wearing their relationship into the ground for some by the end of the series.
Not this again.
Young love is the worst.
Got him!
Just goes to show, even major shippers get tired of it. And Polly, well, nothing necessarily changed directly due to Anne. It was more a product of the adventures they went on to help Anne and the lessons she learned along the way, but that still connects to Anne. Anne's presence gave way for everyone to get better or be in a better position in their lives. The planners were able to become well liked in Wartwood because Anne was able to teach different ways of going about things, even if some of the time they got humiliated in some way. I never said it was perfect, but the sense of change even extended to the townspeople as well. The people were able to grow and take in outsiders when they had that old-fashioned bumpkin prejudice. It's how Wartwood was able to accept Sasha and Grime and mount up a resistance against Andreas since they already dealt with outsiders. It's a testament to how much Anne was able to bring out the best in others while finding the best in herself. Now Luce is pretty much in that same boat when it comes to her time in the Boiling Isles. Her owl family all had their lives improved by her being there. Just Ida alone is a major case for this. Without Luce, she would have been either turned into the owl beast permanently or turned to stone by the Emperor's Coven. We saw how Ida was keeping it a secret from people, and the only ones who knew was her unhelpful family. Luce was seeking out actual solutions that would keep Ida the same without creating a major change for her. Ida even makes it clear that her life is better with Luce in it.
You helped me find King's Crown when you barely knew me. You saved me from turning to stone, and you even got me talking to my sister again. So, unfortunately for you, my life is pretty great because I'm friends with Luce the human.
This puts an emphasis on what makes Luce a major player in her found family's lives. King even gets to learn his true identity because Luce encouraged him to really look into who he is. Albeit because she was playing into his delusions of grandeur at first, but the point is, King knows he's a Titan now. Even Lilith got better to a degree because of Luce, since she was able to make amends with her sister and basically awaken her cool aunt status. Then you have Luce's friends who definitely got better standings in their lives because of her involvement. Be it Willow with how much she wasn't good at magic but found her true calling when Luce faked being her school assignment and almost got her in trouble. It happens. Or when Luce helped Amity start the process of healing her friendship with Willow after almost destroying her brain. Jesus, these kids are onto some dangerous stuff. And you got Gus and Hunter who... are basically in the same boat as Polly, with them being helped more because of other things that have a connection to Luce to a degree, but they all end up as better people. Willow has more confidence in herself and is basically the strongest of her friends. Gus learned to not doubt himself and silence the doubt in his head. Hunter got away from his genocidal uncle, and Amity learned to stand up to her parents. Oh, and some other not so important things. Luce was able to be very important to the lives of her owl family and friends, and it all goes to show that honestly, Anne and Luce are actually kinda special in a more non-conventional way. Anne and Luce make a good case that they are not special people who end up becoming special. They are/were just your average teenage girl sent to some fantasy world that had to become the better person they were meant to be. They brought meaning to those that are at some point were ready to just throw in the towel. They improved the lives of those that weren't in the best standing, and they did this in worlds that were far beyond their expertise. Now, with Luce, her story isn't finished as of this video, so only time will tell where that arc goes for her, but her and Anne do share that inherent want/need to find your own purpose. We saw Luce doesn't know what to do with herself, and by the end of season 2, that hasn't been answered for her, mainly because a godchild fisted the entire demon realm supposedly. Gotta hate when that happens, but she is in the process of learning who she wants to be in the future. Now with Anne, she was able to learn who she wanted to be and made something of herself. Maybe a little too much of herself considering she has the opportunity to become a god when she dies. Follow your dreams, kids, you can go far. But anyway, these two brought something special to their friends and families, even though at the start they didn't have much promise. It's honestly a great testament to how even if we think we're not that special, there's always something special we can bring to others. But what do you all think? Do you think Luce and Anne bring something special to their shows, or do they mean anything special to you? Let me know in the comments, and always remember, it's just a thought.
Thank you.